Okay, fishing boat docks is something that a lot of people have questions on. We're gonna cover in this video exactly how to approach fishing boat docks, explain to you where those fish are gonna be sitting. Sometimes different times of the year, they're gonna be sitting in different locations. So we're gonna cover all of that in this video. Not as much about what baits you're gonna be throwing. We're gonna be throwing a jig some here, but there's a million different baits you can throw on boat docks, and I'm not gonna get into that as much. But this boat dock is a perfect example of all the different things that a boat dock might have to offer. So you first need to look at like the boat dock from the land to the boat dock, the walkway portion. This is a shorter walkway portion, but focusing on walkways can be a deal. You see the shaded portion up under that, the dock there. The shaded portion is probably the most popular area to fish. That's where everybody thinks the fish always are. Sometimes that's the case for sure. And then this dock, I like this dock here because it's got a floating dock on it as well. Now that is another key aspect. There's a couple little tricks we're gonna cover on how to approach the floating dock portion. And then around the boat dock is a popular area for people to put brush and cover and things like that, because the people that own these people in this beautiful house up here, they might like to fish as well. So they might have brush piles out there so they can catch bluegill or crappie or whatever they want to do. So you want to be able to look for that brush or just fish all the way around the dock. So we're going to ease up here and just start making a few casts. And like I said, we're just going to kind of stay mainly with a jig, but we're going to be throwing that jig up on that back side on the shallow portion, seeing if that's where the fish are. A lot of times on those walkways, like in the summertime like it is now, you might have bluegill that are spawning up there on the bank. So a lot of those bass will be kind of sitting on those docks as an ambush point, waiting for bluegill to mess up, come by too close. That's why sometimes throwing to the walkways can be really good. But walkways are also really effective to throw at during the immediate post spawn. And why that is a lot of those walkways, especially the ones that are a little bit longer, that's where the fry are going to be hanging out after the bass spawn. Those bass spawn, the fry are going to be hanging around those dock poles. You can throw to those dock poles with a shaky head, drop shot, wacky worm, anything like that. Throw that over there, and a lot of times the walkways are magic in that immediate post spawn. But as we go out here, we're going to get over here to the bigger portion, the bigger shaded portion. We're just going to pitch the jig up under the big shaded portion. The best advice I can give you on fishing up under there is that you want to put your bait right where you think that fish is and act like it's on a bed. Act like that fish is on a bed and you got that bait in their face, and you're just going to kind of make your little slight move. You don't want to move the bait a lot. You just want to make it ease out like I'm doing right here. Just kind of crawling it over every single little piece of rock or whatever it is when that jig is in the right spot, that's what you're going to do. Sometimes it might be hard to get the jig all the way under there, or whatever bait. It might be a difficult cast. The water's down a little bit, casting's a little bit easier. So you want to work all the way out so that you might not miss any depths. They might not be in this 3 or 4 foot range. They might be in the 6 or 8 foot range out here a little bit deeper. So I'm going to pitch that jig in there, let it fall down, let it free fall down, watching the line all the way down. And then I'm just going to drag it out again, looking for cover, trying to, I feel like that's as good of a spot for those fish to be in as possible. So I'm going to just slowly work that jig out to me. I can feel all that rock up under there. There's got to be fish on this dock at times. This is a good feeling dock. Kind of on a little bit of a point as well. So as you're fishing all these docks, as I mentioned, this lake got a ton of docks on it. You will find a pattern a lot of times as you start fishing docks. It's not just about one particular dock. You might find docks that are in the back of pockets, on flat banks, on rocky banks, on points, on secondary points, on main lake, back in creeks. All of those can become a pattern. If you get bit on 1 or 2 or 3 docks, there can be a pattern. Look for more docks like that that fit the description. And anytime you see a ladder on a dock, there's a ladder on this floating dock, that is gold. Throw by every ladder. You do not want to miss any ladders on a dock. You know, I've got forward-facing sonar on this boat, so I can scan around and see that there is a little bit of cover out in front of this dock. It's not a whole bunch. Well, nobody on the dock. No dock bass, or ladder bass, I should say. But even if you don't have forward-facing sonar, always throw once or twice out in front of that dock, looking for that brush. But then we got another ladder over there. So as I mentioned, you got to throw over there near those ladders. I don't know why it is. A lot of times the bass, they just live around those ladders. And I think a lot of times some lakes that have, I've seen it with, that have otters or have fish that eat the mussels that are on the bottom, they'll take and go to those ladders and stand on those ladders and eat those mussels. So in clear water lakes, you can see around those ladders, a lot of times there'll be a little deposit of shells. That is just something different, something unique that those fish will sit around. So I think that's another reason that the ladders can be so good, other than they're just different. But here's the little trick I'm going to show you. Take a look at that. Take a look at that floating dock. You can see I can't really get a bait up under there. Now maybe you could take a glide bait and walk it sideways up under there a little bit. So what I'm going to do is, as I'm going by, I'm going to make a pitch cast down the far side of that dock, and we'll let that jig get all the way to the bottom. I'll let my line go out, and then I'm going to take the trolling motor and go up just reposition my boat just a little bit, so that now my line is up under the boat dock. So you have to kind of wait for that line to get down into the water, so that now I can drag that jig under that floating dock. That is a little secret tip on how to fish floating boat docks. Throw down next to it, let your line sink down, and then wait, and then you can drag it as your boat goes around. You can drag it up under that floating dock. That is a trick from back in the day. Woo Daves was doing that back in the day, and that's who I learned that from, is Woo Daves. I thought that was one of the sneakiest little tricks for fishing these floating boat docks. So make sure you keep that one to yourself. Well, I guess everybody else that sees the video, just keep it to ourselves here. If you got any comments or you like that, let me know. But as we're rounding the corner here, we're getting to the last portion. Anytime you look at a dock, like when you look at this dock and you see under these chairs here, it's probably the darkest shaded spot under this dock. That's definitely where I want to be putting my bait. Wherever the darkest place is under that, I feel like that is where the bass are going to be hiding the most to try to ambush their prey. So I'm going to put that bait in there and slowly drag it out. You got boat weeks and all this other stuff to deal with. That's just part of fishing in the summertime. But that's the basics on how to approach fishing boat docks. Anybody has anything additional on things they want to see or things you want to add to it, please comment down there. I love hearing from everybody, but those are the basics on how to fish a boat dock.